Hi, I'm Brian Kampling with Source Allies, and welcome to the Codebeamer Advanced Configuration Series. We will walk you through the different configuration options for Codebeamer and show you how to fine-tune your out-of-the-box instance. In this video, we will be going over advanced field configuration. If you haven't seen our video on basic and advanced tracker configurations, I recommend watching those first, as this video will assume you already have that knowledge. To get started, let's navigate to the Field tab in the configuration space. Here you can see a table that contains all the fields available to our tracker. There's a lot of information on this table. It's okay if it feels overwhelming. We'll work through it and break it down to reduce some of this complexity. At the bottom of this table is a drop-down labeled More Fields. Click that drop-down and select New Choice Field. For the label on this one, we are going to enter Cost Center and select Options for the data source. Here we go, that's already set. There's a multiples allowed checkbox that you can check if you want to be able to choose more than one. So if you only want one option to be selectable in the drop down, leave it unchecked. Otherwise, check it if you want to be able to select multiple ones. We'll leave that unchecked, and all the other required fields are covered. So let's click OK. After clicking OK and creating this field, we have to make sure we scroll back up and click Save. That's something that's commonly missed. It can create a lot of headache when you're trying to figure out why field settings aren't reflecting correctly. Always remember to click that extra save. If we scroll back down to the table, we could see our new field. We need to add the options for this field. So if we click on this options link in the middle row, we can see that a modal opens up where we can add the items we want to appear in this dropdown. So let's add CC 1701. Let's add CC 74205 and CC 74656. That should cover it for us. And then click OK. And again, to remember, click Save. If we navigate to the tracker, we can now see that this new field is available, and we can select it right down here. Now let's create a date field. We'll again go back to the bottom of the field configuration table, but instead of choice field, we are going to select new custom field. And here for the label, I'm going to put commissioning. Commissioning date. And for type, we will select date. Here you have several checkboxes that help with the options for the level of granularity you need for this day field. Aside from the time selector, if you uncheck day or month options, the full date will still be set when populating, but it will only display what has been selected in read only. Now let's take a look at this field on the tracker. Don't forget to click Save. Head back to the tracker. Take a look at the one we've been working on. Now we have this commissioning date. And let's go ahead and select, we'll do today and set it for 15:30. Click away for that to save. Now you can see we've got the date with the timestamp here. If we went in and unchecked the time, this column would be gone. Otherwise, regardless if we had day or month unchecked, you would still pick a specific date. All right, now let's take a look at some of the other field types. For this next one, we're going to take a look at the decimal field. Scroll all the way down, select new custom field again. In here, we're going to call this one build version. We're going to select decimal. And here, some of the configurations you have are the min-max amount and then the number of digits for how far out the decimals can go out. And if you mouse over these, they also give you the some of the helpers as you go through this. So let's go ahead and click OK. And then click Save again. Head back to the tracker. And build version. Let's do 257.4. Click away from that, and we've got that saved. The next field type we're going to take a look at is wiki text. It's kind of unique, but you'll recognize it for those of you familiar with rich text editors. It allows for more than just basic text. By doing wiki text, it gives you the same. Hold on, let's add a title here real quick. We'll call this one additional notes. Click OK and save. Head back to the tracker. So in these additional notes, if we double click this, we get a text field with some different formatting options that we want. We could say, we'll call this one the USS Enterprise. But we want to have this be, we'll do heading 3. And then make sure you click this save. And you can see this isn't just regular text anymore. It's got that nice bold, so if you wanted it to stand out. We'll get into some other formatting dynamics when working with these fields. It doesn't entirely seem like it would make sense having something that robust in this tiny of a space, but I'll show you what else you can do with that here coming up. So now we're going to take a look at the choice fields. So these are different from the custom fields. This is where we're able to set up different linking between different types of entities within. So we'll select new choice field. We're going to call this one crew. That works. And instead of choice here, we're going to switch this over to members. Now for the data source, this changed. So again, we could have multiple, and then if we expand the members drop down, this allows us to determine what we want to potentially be able to add. Let's say we only want to do roles. Click OK. And click Save. Now if we head back to the tracker, if we come down here to crew, we can select all the different crews, or excuse me, all the different role configurations for this project. So if we included users or groups, you would see those as options here. So let's go ahead and we'll just pick test engineer. So we've got something in there. So now you can see that this test engineer is now part of this tracker. So the next field type that I'm going to show you is a little bit different, and it kind of can combine all the things that we've covered so far. You can introduce tables. So what tables do are, if we come down here and we do new table, so we are going to call this the, we'll just call it crew chart. So in here, we can have row numbers. I tend to like that. And there's a lot of additional configuration that you can add that we don't need to worry about at this point. So if we click OK here, and then come up here and click Save, for the sake of an example, we're going to jump over to the requirement again. Open one of these up. And now over here you see crew chart. If we double click this, you see we have no permissions to edit this field. And that's not the most intuitive error message, because really there are no columns for us to actually put anything into. It's just a container. But we're able to see that it's there. So let's go ahead and actually add some columns so we can associate some data. So under crew chart, if we come over here towards the middle where we've got this triple dot more icon, if we click that, we can do new column. So this one, we are going to say, we'll call it crew name. And the type here is we're going to do members. And then expand the members here. We're going to go with users this time. And there are no other required fields. So we can go ahead and click OK. And then we're going to add another column. And we are going to go ahead and we'll do an integer. And we will call it, let's see here, years of service. And then click OK. And then again, click Save up the top. If we head back into the tracker here. So for the most part now, we've been working on this side. So if we click over here, you can see we've got kind of this small space. It's not the greatest, but if we actually go into the tracker, so we've got some more real estate, you can see we've got a little bit more space here. And now we've got this crew chart. So let's go ahead and open this up. Crew name, we're going to add a new row. And let's see here. We have, Brian Kampling. We'll go with me. We can set that one. And then years of service. Let's go ahead and say 22. And then click OK. And now we have that added in here. It's, again, important. There are little save buttons all over the place, and they'll get you. So let's click Save on that. And you can now see we have these. And we can hover over and see that we get some of my information. Now, let's go ahead and modify this table and add one more column. So we're going to need to go up a level to the requirements tracker to get to the configuration here. And then go into fields. Now, if we come back down to this crew chart here, where our table is, let's go ahead and add a new column. And we are going to call this one, we'll just call it test case. And then we're going to do choice And then with choice, instead of options, we're going to go with work config items. So this opens up a whole nother section. I want to take a little pivot here real quick and kind of talk a little bit about this propagation section and the suspect flags. So one of Codebeamer's core features in supporting traceability is the ability to have suspect flags triggered when trackers change between relationships. So if I have a relationship between, say, a test case and a requirement, if I update the requirement and I have the propagate suspects configured for that relationship, when I change the description of that requirement, that will alert me on the test case, and then I can go in and make any updates and changes as I need to, and then I can dismiss the suspect flag. Getting into some more advanced workflow configurations, you can have like rules and guards that if there are any unresolved suspect flags, don't proceed to the next state, or there are many ways to configure this, but this here is the core heart of how you would set up the change flow. So if we select propagate suspects, what we do here is anytime as you can see here, anytime the target is modified, we're going to get a suspected notification, but that actually only flows in one direction. So if we select bidirectional, what that will mean is if we change the test case, the requirement is going to get a suspect flag. If we change the requirement, the test case is going to get a suspect flag. If we do reverse direction, instead of flowing down, it'll flow up. So that way we could, if we change the test case, we could have it, if we change the test case, the requirement gets flagged, but if we change the requirement, the test case doesn't get flagged. I really haven't found a whole lot of situations for the reverse direction, but I'm pretty sure they're out there. So for now, we'll go ahead and do bidirectional. And then for project, let's select our public training. And this is where we get to choose what types of trackers or specific trackers we want to have available for association in this field. And we can come down here and let's go ahead and grab, what do we want to do? Let's do test sets. And instead of, we'll do any status, and let's go ahead and let's rename this from test case to test sets. And then we'll come down here, click OK, come up here, click Save. Now let's go back into the tracker, and we'll open up the specific instance again. And here you can see we now have the test sets column available on this table. So if we double click, we've got this little triple dot here, which means we can edit this row. And now we can come in here and add a test set. So you can see we have a test set here. So if we click add, we can add that. Now you can see it shows the suspected relationship and that it's bidirectional. And click OK. And then click Save. You can now see that we have the test set associated all in the same row. And we could add multiple rows. To add an additional row, we just double click in here again and then do add new row. For crew name, let's go ahead. We're going to grab TJ. You've seen him in some of the other videos. Select him. And TJ, well, we'll give him 16. And for test sets, we'll just do the same test set. And then click add, click OK. And now, and then click save again. And now you could see this suspect flag now triggered because a change to this tracker occurred. So if we click on this suspected flag, you see it says no differences found, but if we get into this derived item changes, you can see it's showing that the table changed. This doesn't allow us to move data from one tracker to another one in this situation. If it had been a description, for example, you actually have the option to say, hey, I want you to copy the entire description from to this downstream tracker or upstream tracker, depending on how you have it configured. But this one is primarily focused on just awareness for like, hey, something changed. You told me to tell you, so here you go. And this is where the clear suspected comes in. Once you've done whatever you need to do, any documentation or follow-up, whatever processes you have, then you click clear suspected, and then you can see that it's grayed out. And if we refresh this, you can see down here we've got this associations. And again, now this is suspected. As you can see, we've got, this is where I was talking about being able to move things over. So we've got like the description, test item 3. If we slide this one over here, we'll do that. And I don't want to change anything else at this point. So let's click save. We've got the clear suspected checked. If you wanted to make some changes and then click save, but not clear the suspected flag, you could just uncheck this and then come back as you need to. But for the sake of this demo, we're just going to clear that. And there we go. So now I mentioned about like this field and some of the weirdness and like it's kind of awkward in size. So if we go into the tracker configuration, let's go into our requirements. There's lots of different ways to navigate around here. Go into configure, fields. What we can do, for example, with this additional notes, to come back up to the headers, we have new line and width. So new line allows it so you could have that field drop onto a new line, and then for the width, there's essentially 3 columns. So if you have 3 fields on the same row, they'll be evenly spaced. But if you want to have this set up so I want it to take up all 3 widths, you can set it up that way. And so if we do that, and then I always like doing the same thing for tables too, if they've got more than 1 column really. And then come up here, we can click save. Let's navigate back and let's take a look. So you can see it's on its own row now, but let's open this up to get a better sense of what we're looking at. So now you can see this is much larger, a lot more real estate for whatever you wanted to add there. And then for, again, like crew chart here, you've got the full width for this tracker. So that helps with some of the cosmetic pieces. You can also reorder them, and how you reorder fields is, again, heading back into configuration, into the fields tab. These little grab things here, you can do drag and drop. So let's say I want to keep additional notes at the bottom. We could do that. What you also can do is if there is a field, regardless of if it has data or not, if you no longer want to use it or don't have a purpose for it in whatever situation you're doing, let's say you're not worrying about planned effort because this is a already implemented requirement and you just have it for tracking, you can come over here, click this little 3 dots, and then you can hide. And then, as you can see, it's not there anymore. If you want to find it again, you can just check Show Hidden Fields, and then you can come down here, and it's now present. So some of these other attributes we'll touch on here in a moment, and some of the more complicated ones, like the aggregation rule, we're going to dedicate a separate video to those. So we click save. I think we did we? Well, when in doubt, it doesn't hurt to click it more than once. Now let's go back to our tracker. And you can see additional notes is at the bottom. If we open this up here, you can see we've got the additional notes now is at the bottom. So there are a couple other field configurations that you can do. And a couple of these are, let's see here, let's find a good one before I start explaining too much. Let's take a look at, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and use build version. So if we open up build version here, Codebeamer also has the ability to, what's the word I'm looking for? Do more nuanced, more sophisticated calculations that allow you to either have a field so it's not edited, it is, as it says, computed. So you'd put in an expression in here, and that would automatically populate the field instead of manually editing it. Same thing with the hide, but instead of populating the field, it would hide it if this condition becomes true, and then mandatory if that condition is true, then instead of hiding it, it would just make it mandatory, so you'd have to have it. And then mandatory and status allows you to either have it always be mandatory or just have it mandatory based on a specific state that it's in. So like this would be valuable, for example, if you had a resolution status that needed to be set for it to go into to save in rejected or accepted status, just as an example. So for the actual expression language, they refer to it as the unified expression language, as you can see from the tooltip here. There's a lot there, so we're going to break that out into a separate video, and then we'll circle back and touch on these fields again. But just wanted to give you a little bit of awareness about what's coming up. And for some of the existing fields also, I want to touch on this omit suspected when changing. The omit suspected when changing is pretty much what you can guess it means, is that if you have this checked, then if you change this field, it won't trigger suspected flags to the related trackers that are associated with it. So if you've got fields that are changing all the time, like maybe it's like a comments field or something, and you're not wanting to constantly have suspected flags flying all over the place, that's where it gives you an option to really fine-tune how much rigor you want to have in your traceability. So that covers the majority of field configuration for Codebeamer. If you have any additional questions or scenarios that you'd like to discuss with us, feel free to leave a comment, or you can email us at ptc@sourceallies.com. I'm Brian Kampling, and thanks for watching.